Hello everyone, David here with a very serious subject matter. So as some of you know, I did watch the Warcraft movie this past weekend. I saw it on Friday night, and what a mistake that was. Because if I learned anything from this weekend is that you cannot go to the movie theater, let alone the mall that the movie theater is in, on a Friday night, because that's when you find the actual horde. All right, forget the orcs from the Warcraft movie or even the Warcraft universe in general. There's this horde, there's this menace that needs to be controlled, and that's just people. So I saw the movie Friday night, and literally the next morning I go on YouTube and I go on my feed and I managed to stumble upon Chris Stuckmann's latest video, his annoyance with movie theater goers part 2, because the epidemic is growing oh so strong and so fast that it required a second video. And I was eating my breakfast, watching the video, and so many times my mouth would be full with food, but I couldn't verbalize enough how much I agreed with him. I was just pounding on the table, just like agreeing with everything that he was saying, because I've been feeling like that for some time. And I think I made a video some time ago in one of those in my old vlog channel, Remember David in Real Life. I made a video about that, and now here I am to film my second part of that video, but also a little bit of a response to Chris Stuckmann's statements in that video. And to kind of anchor that, I'm going to describe a little bit of an experience I had when I went to go see Warcraft. Now, here's the deal. My actual experience of watching Warcraft wasn't that bad. In fact, the only little annoyance that I did have within the movie theater was that as I was watching the movie, I saw something shine across the ceiling of the movie theater. And it blinked like once or twice every few seconds. And I knew that it was somebody's phone, and they just kept looking at it. And thank God they were behind me, not in front of me, otherwise it would have been much more distracting than it already was. But nonetheless, I'm seeing this giant light across the ceiling, and it just kept capturing my attention. And of course, you are told, in fact, the movie theater chain that I go to here up in the high desert is Cinemark. And Cinemark has been doing a great job at trying to get people to put their fucking phones away and just shut the fuck up and be quiet, because they have this little advert at the beginning of the movie, after the trailers, right before the movie starts, telling you to put your phone away and to not be looking at it, not to do anything. And they got rid of it at the beginning, but they used before the trailers, but they used to show this little advert twice, two different ways. One was just like a little PowerPoint presentation, and then the second time was much more like a commercial that was sponsored by Coca-Cola. And in these adverts, they would explicitly say, don't even pull your phone out to text, because that light is fucking distracting, because you're in the middle of a movie theater that is dark, so little light in the foreground is going to be distracting. And that's what happened when I went to go see Warcraft. But again, it wasn't that big of a deal. It only happened maybe 2 or 3 times. Besides that, there was a little bit of a prelude to this, because before we went into the theater to go see the movie, me and my girlfriend were put to the side in this line that consisted of me and her, because I mean, if you were to look at the numbers now of what went down at the box office in terms of money made, you know that Warcraft doesn't necessarily make the big bucks. What did make the big bucks is, of course, the one movie that attracts high schoolers and adolescents like the flies that they are to a movie theater on a Friday night, a horror movie. And of course, I'm talking about Conjuring 2. Regardless of what critics are saying about how this is the one of the better sequels to come out, that it's actually better than the first one and it's a genuine horror movie, which is legitimately an ounce of word of mouth that actually kind of intrigues me into wanting to watch Conjuring 2. But after what I saw Friday night, maybe I'm gonna wait until that damn thing comes out on DVD so I can redbox it one night. So here my girlfriend and I are sitting down in the one line that's just the two of us, waiting for the theater to be cleaned, because when we got there, that theater literally just got whatever movie they were showing, probably Warcraft, just got finished and people were coming out. So obviously a good 10-15 minutes are going to be needed so that the employees can clean out the theater and whatnot. So I'm like, okay, cool, we'll chill here for a little bit, drink our waters, whatever. While we're waiting there, we're watching something unfold that might have just been a bit more entertaining than the movie that I actually ended up seeing in a few minutes later. And that's all of these teenagers between the ages of maybe 14, 16, 17, maybe even 18, trying to sneak in past the guards, past the security, and of course past the employees, from regular employees to even some of the managers, one of which I actually kind of know of from high school, who was there holding the front like a true soldier that he was, holding down the fort, to making sure that these hooligans, these little fucktards, are not dampening the experience for everybody else, because they are legitimately causing a scene. They're being loud, and I'm just gonna say it, some of them were playing the race card, because unfortunately a good half of them or so were African American, and I don't know, it just angers me so whenever they use that card to kind of like get away, like they feel like this is an injustice done unto themselves. No, we're not doing this because you're black. We're doing this because you're fucking 15, 16 and you're trying to sneak into an R-rated movie without an adult. And me and my girlfriend are just watching this whole thing unfold with some of those kids yelling at the employees and trying to sneak past and being turned away, and some did manage to get kicked out by security and some of the bigger and much more enforcing employees that they had there. And it was delightful to see, but at the same time, it just reminded me how much of a pain it is to go see a movie, period, on the weekend, particularly on Friday night, because it is at this point in these witching hours between 7 and midnight on a Friday night, and I guess you could say Saturday night, where that particular demographic of 14 to 16, 17-year-olds think that in those hours the world belongs to them, so we need to make way for them, and because they paid their way, they deserve all these rights. You paid your entrance into an establishment that has a set of rules, and if you don't abide by those rules, such as either coming into an R-rated movie with an adult or keeping your damn shirt on, because I swear to God, this one dude, I went to the bathroom right before Warcraft started, because I always go to the bathroom 5 minutes before the movie starts so I don't have to get up in the middle of the movie. I go, and there's this dude. Just thinking about it just makes me laugh. Okay, there's this one dude who's with his friend, and then out of nowhere he takes off his shirt and starts like flexing in front of the mirror, and I'm just there trying to wash my hands, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And he walks out with his shirt off still, approaching the theater that he was going back to, still with his shirt off, but slowly trying to put it on. And one of the employees catches sight of this, and he's like, hey, if you don't settle down and buckle down and just stay in your theater, you are going to get kicked out. And I'm really hoping he got kicked out so that he learns a lesson, because I'm tired of theaters not taking the extra step to make these kids learn that they're not fucking around, and that this is a public establishment. It doesn't owe them anything. And the reason why I'm trying to use this video as a response as to what Chris Stuckmann said is because he did make some valid points. Granted, they are somewhat rather tragic points, in which movie theaters are in fact afraid to kick those people out because of competition, because they're afraid that these people have gotten so used to those VOD streaming services that since they got the enjoyment out of relaxing in the comfort of their own home, watching their movie at home, then when they get kicked out that very first moment in the theater, they're going to be like, oh, fuck this, I'm going to go home and I'm just going to watch movies there, and they're never going to come back to the theater, and they'll lose business. Theater chains are in fact worried about this, so they bite the bullet and they try to give them some warnings or whatever, but they'll seldom kick them out. Kudos go to any chains that do enforce these rules, and so far from my understanding, Cinemark is in fact one of those chains that will take that extra step, at least from what I've seen. I don't know, my eyes and ears are not everywhere, so it's possible that maybe ever so often, depending on what person's on management, they'll be like, just give them a warning and that's it, because they don't want bad press, they don't want bad reviews. But little do they know that bad reviews are going to come anyway should you choose to not do anything. Let me leave you with a proverb to those theater chains out there that don't take necessary action. Evil wins when the good people do nothing. Okay? I know it's a very rather deep, more deep than needed proverb for situations such as this, but it kind of does have a little bit of relevancy. Because if you don't do anything about these people that ruin the experience for everybody else who also paid for their ticket, who also gave you their money, then you're going to let those people walk all over you and just act like they do at home in a public establishment. When you go to a restaurant, people don't you get kind of irritated when people leave a humongous mess on the table like they would at home? Well, then maybe we should take those steps and apply them to the movie theater. When you go to a fancy restaurant, you're not just paying for the food, you're also paying for that ambiance of dining in a very classy place. Same thing with the movie theater. You're dealing with an art form. You're there to respect the art. You're there to respect the movie, regardless of what you think. Regardless of what I thought about Warcraft, I'm there to honor the sanctity of the movie theater, because that's the place where I can go and just completely forget about my problems in the outside life. It breaks my heart knowing that there's people coming in to almost purposely sabotage that experience Because the majority of those kids that I saw that Friday night, I can honestly tell you, they're not there to watch Conjuring 2. I mean, well, they are on a physical level, like they're there to buy their ticket to Conjuring 2, but they're just there to follow the crowd because that's what horror movies do. They attract these kids like flies because it's a trendy thing. Horror movies do that. They're not there to appreciate how the camera works, how the director handled this scene, how the performances are. They are just there for the scares, and whenever a scare is about to come up, they're like, oh no, don't go there. And of course, in doing so, they ruin the experience for everybody else who's there to actually absorb the movie rather than just watch it passively. For all those teenagers and high schoolers, you do know what followers are referred to? Sheep. And sheep get slaughtered eventually. Okay, I know that went a little bit of a dark turn, but you get what I'm saying on a metaphorical sense. Please, once you reach your 20s and 30s, I hope that maybe you'll look back on your years and will reflect and hopefully come to an understanding as to where I'm coming from. Because now, in my mid-20s, I'm praising God that I wasn't this type of person when I was in high school that just follows the crowd. I was my own person, and thankfully that made me a much more tasteful and respectful human being. And that's why when I go to the theater, I feel like I'm one of the few people that are the best person to be sitting next to. If you're ever worried of finding me like in the middle of a seat and you have to sit by me because there's like no other space, take relief in knowing that I'm not one of those people. I go into the movie theater, I sit down, I cross my arms, or if I'm going with my girlfriend, I'm holding her hand, and that's it. I'm still, for the 2.5 hours that I'm there, you won't hear a peep out of me unless it's either something really bad in the movie that requires me to make like a one-phrase commentary, or a laugh should it be a funny situation. Besides that though, I feel like everybody needs to follow the same thing, and hopefully we can start a movement to bring back the sanctity of the movie theater, because if things keep going this way, similar to other issues that are going around in the world of the arts, then we could be seeing the deterioration of the movie theater going experience, and that brings a humongous load of sadness to me. So please let me know, what were your guys' worst experiences in the movie theater? Comment below with those experiences, share this video, and I really do urge you to share this video to either Chris Stuckmann or any of the other YouTube reviewers here, and hopefully we can get some insight on them, like Jeremy John Schmoes. Hopefully they do some kind of video to relate to this sort of thing, and again, we could indeed bring about a movement to actually become that person that won't just let somebody keep talking or kicking the seat behind us, and actually get up and be like, stop, I'm trying to watch the movie. And of course, not be a humongous dick about it, but definitely enforce what should be the proper rules of being in a movie theater, or at least being in a public establishment, period. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you guys on